اللهم إني عبدك وابن عبدك وابن أمتك ناصيتي بيدك ماض في حكمك عدل في قضاؤك اللهم إني أسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك وأنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلبي ونور صدري وجلاء حزني وذهاب همي في الدنيا والآخرة اللهم آمين. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى آية number 37 الذين يبخلون those who do not give or they are tight or they are stingy ويأمرون الناس بالبخل and they ask people not to give, they ask people to be stingy too ويكتمون ما آتاهم الله من فضله and they hide what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them from his bounty وأعتدنا للكافرين عذابا مهينا and we already prepared for the kafirs a humiliating punishment. So Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said this ayah specifically talks about the Jews because they hide the description of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Torah. But this ayah, it talks about those who are stingy, those who are not generous, and especially those who do not give zakah and they do not spend the right way, like what they are supposed to spend on their families. يقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اتقوا الظلم فإن الظلم ظلمات يوم القيامة. Be careful of doing injustice to people because it's going to be hard times on the day of judgment. واتقوا الشح and be careful of being stingy. فإنما الشح أهلك من كان قبلكم because being stingy it already destroyed those nations before you. حملهم على قطع أرحامهم على قطع الأرحام. Being stingy make them they split or they cut the relationship, the bond between them and their relatives, and this is common when you see the person who is stingy, who has money and he does not give to his poor relatives. You don't like them. He does not like them and they do not like him too. So there is some kind of no relationship between them. وحملهم على سفك محارم الله and also make them even go beyond the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made haram, because they are stingy with their money, also they did not even care about the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they did not make any care for their relatives. They did not even care about the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is shuh and bukhl? Like there is two words for being stingy in Arabic, either shuh or bukhl. Most of the scholars they say it's the same. It's the same thing. Imam Qurtubi he said no. Shuh is worse. Shuh means a person who has the money and he has more love for that money not to go from his hand, and always whenever he see a chance to collect the money he's behind it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us people who have and can give generously for his sake, inshallah. وَالَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ ayah number 38, and those who spend their wealth, their money, رِيَاءَ النَّاسِ because they just want the people to see them. وَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ and they do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they do not believe in the final day. وَمَنْ يَكُنِ الشَّيْطَانُ لَهُ قَرِينًا and whoever the shaitan is a mate for him, like a mate, like somebody who is always with him. Qareen means like somebody who's always with him all the time. فَسَاءَ قَرِينًا what a bad close friend to him. So this ayah actually it tells the Muslims to be careful of their own shaitan, because your own shaitan is the one who is always asking you to do what is wrong when you are by yourself. That's why when the person by himself, shaitan is closer to him, but when he's with a Muslim group, shaitan gets away from him, because the Muslims, they have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They remind each other. But when you are among non-Muslims, you live by yourself, nobody see you, then they are doing haram, you're going to be the same like them. So always the Muslim in any, even in a Muslim country, should be surrounded by the good Muslims. Otherwise, those around him will ask him to do what is haram, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us about those people who spend, is related to this ayah, those who spend for his sake on the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to this person who is generous, you lied. You say yet you spend for my sake, you lied. لقد كذبت. إنما أنفقت ليقال جواد وقد قيل. You are a person who just spend for the sake of being to have the reputation that you are a generous person, and the people already said, so you got your reward already. You didn't mean it for me, you meant it for the people. Ayah number 39, وَمَاذَا عَلَيْهِمْ لَوْ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. And what harm will happen to them if they believe in Allah and in the final day. وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَهُمُ اللَّهِ. And spend of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to them. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِهِمْ عَلِيمًا. And Allah knows everything they are doing of sadaqah, of doing charity or anything. So the meaning, so these people, they did not believe that there is life after death. And what will happen to them if they just believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What blame, what harm can happen to them? Indeed, all the good stuff will happen to them if they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they spend from their heart for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for the sake of the people. Ayah number 40, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ. Allah does not do any kind of injustice, even if it's an atom's weight. وَإِن تَكُ حَسَنَةً. And if it's only one hasana, يُضَاعِفْهَا. He multiply that hasana. وَيُؤْتِ مِن لَدُنْهُ أَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. And he give from his side, from his bounty, a great reward. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give a great reward if we count our ibadah and wait according to the blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to us, then we already used it in this dunya. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not owe us anything. Even if our ibadah is equal to the ni'am of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we already got our reward in this dunya. But we have a hadith from Abu Dawud, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله لا يظلم الناس إن الله لا يظلم المؤمن حسنة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not do in any kind of injustice to a Muslim, even if it's only one hasana. يجزى بها في الآخرة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him on the final day, on the day of judgment. ويطعم بها في الدنيا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also feed him in this dunya, in this worldly life. وأما الكافر, as for the kafir, فيطعم بها في الدنيا. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feed him in this dunya. فإذا كان يوم القيامة لم يكن له حسنة. When it's the day of judgment, then there is no hasana for such a person. So nobody has a favor to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't say, this person, he spent too much money in this dunya, but he's a kafir and he deserves to go to Jannah. This is up to Allah, it's not to us. Because even the money that the person has, it's from Allah subhanahu. Nobody has any favor to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also there is a scary hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, and even the Prophet ﷺ, he said, when the angels, they call the person, this is the person, son of such and such, whoever has any rights against him, let him come so he can take it from him today. And then the hadith says, even the woman come and she will be happy that she has some rights over her father or her brother, and she will come to take some of his good deeds on that day of judgment. Even وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, some of the people who did a lot of bad stuff, they come, they wish to find any right for them on somebody who did injustice to them. And once we hear that hadith, it's really scary, and we understand why the Prophet ﷺ, he said doing injustice is going to be hard times for the person on the day of judgment. If the person is a good Muslim and then he has at least one good deed left, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he say to the angel, is there any good deed left for him? They say, oh Allah, he has hasana. And then the hadith says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say to the angels, multiply it for him and take him to Jannah. This is out of the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is one hadith from Abu Hurairah, he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give for one good deed 1,000,000 good deed. Like he said, alf means 1,000,000 good deed. One of the Sahaba, he said, you are the one who said that hadith? He said, yes, I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And maybe it's strange to you, but when you look at it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving the reward for the Muslims in Jannah forever. Like if you count your salah or your ibadah, in the end it will have, like if there is some years of enjoyment for it, in the end it will come to an end. Like you worship Allah 100 years, you deserve to be in Jannah 1,000, 1,000,000 years, 200 million years. But in the end, you don't deserve to stay in Jannah forever. But out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He make you stay in Jannah forever. And this is from His rahmah. And this is how the hasanat are being multiplied. And of course, there are some hasanat, the Qur'an said, they are multiplied up to 700 good deeds. We said this in Surah Al-Baqarah. And it depends on your good intention. When you give by your good intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiply it for you to 700 good deeds or more. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, they said this ayah to the Muslims, خَيْرٌ مِمَّا طَلَتْ عَلَيْهِ الشَّمْسِ. The ayah we just said. He said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiply the small good deed for the Muslims. He said it's better for the Muslim than if you own everything on the earth. This is like a term they say it. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لأن أقول سبحان الله, if I say سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر أحب علي مما طلعت عليه الشمس. To say سبحان الله الحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر, Rasulullah saying, is better to me than the whatever the sun rises over on this earth, which means like if I own the whole earth, this just a small tasbih I just mentioned the hadith is better to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Because the dunya is gonna go some day from us. It's gonna like we're gonna leave it. This dunya we're gonna leave it one day. But the reward for those words stay forever with us, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's exactly like the hadith when the Prophet ﷺ ركعت الفجر, he said ركعت الفجر خير من الدنيا وما فيها. The 2 rak'ah of Fajr is better than the whole earth and what's in it. Like when you pray the 2 sunnah, not the fard, the 2 sunnah for Salatul Fajr is better than you own the whole earth. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. Ayah number 40. فكيف إذا جئنا من كل أمة بشهيد. How about when we bring from ummah a witness? وجئنا بك على هؤلاء شهيد. And we bring you a witness against these ones. Ayah 42. يومئذ يود الذين كفروا, on that day those who made kufr وعصوا الرسول and disobeyed the messenger, لو تسوى بهم الأرض, they wish that the earth will be leveled with them, ولا يكتمون الله حديثا, and they will not hide Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anything thing of what they did in this dunya. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he makes shahada for his ummah, that he already gave the message to his ummah. And also we have a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, like when Sayyidina Nuh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, did you give the message to your people? And then he say, yes, oh Allah. And then he say to his people, his nation, did Nuh give you the message? They say, no, he did not give us the message. And then said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say to Nuh, they say, you didn't give them the message. He said, Allah, Muhammad and his ummah, they are my witness. And then, this is in Sahih Bukhari, and then he go to Sayyidina Muhammad and the Prophet and the Muslim ummah and ask them, they say, yes, O Allah, Sayyidina Nuh, he gave the message to his people. Because of the Qur'an, yes, because it's mentioned in the Qur'an, yeah. Because وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ, to be witness against other nations, that they give the message. وروي عن أنس قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أعمالكم تعرض على أقاربكم. Your ibadah is being offered to your relatives. وعشائركم من الأموات, and your like surrounded people, the people they know you, from those who die before. فإن كان خيرا استبشروا به, and if your ibadah was good, then they feel good about it. وإن كان غير ذلك, and if it was other than that, قالوا اللهم لا تمتهم حتى تهديهم كما هديتنا. They say, oh Allah, don't make them die until they die, until you give them hidayah. This hadith narrated by Imam Ahmad and Imam Albani, Shaykh Albani, he said it's a correct hadith in his silsila sahiha, in his chain of correct hadith. There is another hadith when the angels they come فَيَأْتُونَ بِهِ أَرْوَاحَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, when they take the soul of the believer and they go to the sky, and then they take him to the rest of the believers, أرواح المؤمنين فَلَهُمْ أَشَدُّ فَرَحًا بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدِكُمْ بِغَائِبِهِ. Those believers, those souls of the believers, they become, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, they are more stronger and they are happier than you. Like then if a family, they have somebody who is on a journey and he come back, they become so happy. He said, no, those believers who die before, they become so happy when they see a good believer coming to them, leaving this dunya and go to the akhirah. فَيَسْأَلَانِهِ, and then they ask him, what fulan did, what this person did, what this person did. This hadith is narrated by Imam Nasa'i, and again Shaykh Albani, he said it's a correct hadith. And the Qur'an says about the shuhada, like this is a hadith, somebody say I have a doubt, but the Qur'an said about the shuhada, وَيَسْتَبْشِرُونَ بِالَّذِينَ لَمْ يَلْحَقُوا بِهِمْ مِنْ خَلْفِ, and they have the good news for those who are still doing good deeds. How they know? The angels, they tell them, وَيَسْتَبْشِرُونَ بِالَّذِينَ لَمْ يَلْحَقُوا بِهِمْ مِنْ خَلْفِ أَلَّا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. As long as they are doing good and following the sunnah of Rasulullah, they say there is no fear for them from the future that is in front of them, and they will never be sad for whatever they left in this worldly life. And also the Prophet ﷺ, he told us, once there is somebody who died, and then there is 4 Muslims witness that this person was a good Muslim, then the Prophet ﷺ, he said wajabat, like and then they asked him, Rasulullah, what is wajabat? He said Jannah becomes a due for him, because you are the witness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth, like you Muslims, the good Muslims, like the Sahaba, like those who the Prophet ﷺ was talking to the Sahaba and to the good Muslims who act like Sahaba, like, or try, as Imam Nawawi he said if somebody die and then the Muslims they witness that this person is good, most of the people they say he was good, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him go to Jannah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, ayah number 42, inshallah this is the last ayah today. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la taqrabu as-salah, O you who have belief, do not approach salah. وأنتم سكارى while you are drunk حتى تعلموا ما تقولون until you know what you are saying ولا جنبا and you cannot approach salah when you are you have janaba, you are you have to take a shower to pray إلا عابري سبيل except when you just cross from the masjid حتى تغتسل until you make ghusl, until you wash the Islamic wash for salah. وإن كنتم مرضى and if you are sick أو على سفر or you are on a journey أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط or some one of you came from the low place that you relieve yourself there أو لامستم النساء or you touch the women فلم تجدوا ماء and you cannot find water, what will happen? فتيمموا صعيدا طيبا, and then make tayammum. You know, all Muslims, they know what is tayammum. Tayammum, like you do the two hits on the ground and then you wipe your face with it and then you wipe your hands with it. صعيدا طيبا, the صعيد and the surface, طيبة like طاهر, like طهارة, has طهارة, like clean. فامسحوا بوجوهكم, then wipe with your faces, وأيديكم, and your hands. إن الله كان عفوا غفورا. Indeed, Allah is forgiving, merciful, and He delete the sins. So the reason for this ayah to come down, Sayyidina Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, and some other Sahabi from Medina, he invited them for food and drink. So they eat and then they drink. And when it's Salatul Maghrib, then Sayyidina Abdul Rahman ibn Auf led the Salah, and then he mixed up Surah قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. And instead of saying, he said قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَنَحْنُ نَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ, which means like we worship the same God you worship. So once this happened, then the ayah came down that the Muslims, they should not approach Salah. This is of course the time when the mu'adhin of Rasulullah ﷺ used to say to the people after adhan, وَلَا يَقْرَبَنَّ الصَّلَاةَ سُكَارًا, like nobody who is drunk should approach Salah after Salah, wine or drinking alcohol, this is the second stage of it, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala later on He made it haram, totally haram, to drink wine in Surah Al-Ma'idah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس, like this is najasa. من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه means like you avoid it, like you cannot come to it anymore. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He talk about إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام. Khamr is the khamr, like the drinking alcohol. Maysir, gambling. Al-ansab wal-azlam, the idols and the lottery. They make a lottery with some errors, like some small errors. Anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in this ayah, لا تقربوا الصلاة, means the scholars, they say either the salah itself or the masajid, but anyway the meaning is not there is no big difference in it. So you do not approach the salah, but alhamdulillah no more, like we are talking about, like some condition, some rule is already cancelled in Islam. This was the second stage of making khamr haram. وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون. So the scholars, they say when the person come to salah, he should be aware of what he's saying. You should not, if it's like if you're taking drugs, or if you are a person who is sleepy and you don't know what you are saying, you should not approach salah, because you need to know what you are saying. Or if you want to use the bathroom and it's too much, and then you just, because you have wudu, and you said, oh, let me make salah and then go to the bathroom. No, this is wrong. Like you should not. This is makruh actually. Even your salah is correct, but there is no khushu', there is no humbleness. You don't think about what you are saying. Yeah. When the person is fasting and there is food or salah, If he pray, he's gonna keep looking at the food. No, eat first and then do salah. Or eat a little bit, what makes you not full, and then pray if you can. If you can, just take the tamr and water or milk and pray and then come back to the food. This is better. This is the sunnah actually. They say when you make wudu, somebody asked, should I make wudu if it's time for Maghrib and it's almost like 10 minutes for Salah and I cannot find water? Or if I go find water in the city, then the time will finish? No, you cannot do this. This is only when you are on a journey, or when you in far away from the water. So, like the condition to make tayammum, like to hit the ground, is only when there is no water. You cannot do this. You cannot make tayammum when there is water. They only say you can make tayammum if it's only Salatul Eid or Salatul Janazah. Why Salatul Janazah? If there is water there and you can make wudu before Janazah, still it's okay. You can make wudu. But if you go make wudu and then the Salatul Janazah will finish, then they say it's okay to make wudu during that time because the salah is going to finish and you cannot catch it. Then they say it's okay. And also Salatul Eid. If you go make wudu and Eid is there, they say maybe you miss it. Then if you cannot make wudu, then you can make tayammum. But if it's dhuhr, if it's for example, if it's Jum'ah, they say no, Jum'ah no. Why? Because Jum'ah there is a replacement for Jum'ah. There is dhuhr salah. If you miss Jum'ah, then you pray dhuhr salah. And it's better than this to make tayammum for Jum'ah and then pray Jum'ah, and then once you go find the water, then you make wudu and then you pray dhuhr. Then you get the reward for both, inshallah, for the Jum'ah and the dhuhr. Also they say if somebody is sick, can he make wudu? Yes, they say yes. If somebody is sick, he can make wudu, because the ayah is just mentioned, أو كنتم مرضى. If you feel that if you make wudu, you're going to make it worse, then you can make tayammum. Can you make tayammum with the blanket when you are sick? No, you cannot. You do tayammum with the blanket when you are sick. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said Sa'idan. Sa'id means the surface of the earth. What is that surface? All of them, they agreed that the clean dirt, this is you can make tayammum with. All the scholars agreed that the clean dirt you can make tayammum. How about the sand? Yes. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Yusuf, Imam Shafi'i, they say if there is dust on it, I made a mistake, I said Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i is not. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, they say yes, the sand is okay. Even they say even the mud itself, if there is no dirt, like they say, if the number one is dirt, but they say even the mud itself, you can put some mud on your feet, for example, or on some of your clothes. If you cannot find water or dirt, this is what they say. Like, do not go for the mud from the first place. They say because it becomes like you make a bad image of yourself. But if you cannot find except the mud, they say put it on your clothes or on your body, and then when it's dry, then you can hit on it and then you make wudu with it. Can you make wudu on the like the rugs? Yes. You can make tayammum with the rug on the dust on the rugs? Yes. You can make tayammum with the dirt on the rugs. Can you make tayammum with the snow? You are in a place there is no water, there is nothing, it's only snow around you. Can you make tayammum with the snow? Only with Imam Malik and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. In the other madhab, no. Imam Malik and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, they say if there is nothing, then you can make wudu with snow, as long as you cannot melt it, you cannot make it water. If you can make it water, make wudu. Can you make wudu? Can you make tayammum in the plane? If you are a person who cannot use the water, and like raise your leg and wash your feet and all this stuff inside the plane, then you can make tayammum. Then if you say to me, I don't have sand, I don't have nothing, then what they say, all the scholars they say, you need to pray and then you need to repeat the salah, except the Hanbali madhab. They say salah, even if you pray without making wudu, without making tayammum, all the majority of the scholars they say you need to repeat. If you do not make tayammum, do not make wudu. But if you this is what the majority of the scholars they say. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he said, no, you don't need to pray again because you already did, because you don't have water, you don't have dirt. The Malikis, they are split on this issue. They say, some of them they say it's correct, so you don't have to pray again. Some of them they say, most of them actually, they say no, you don't need to pray again, but it's better to pray. It's better to pray this salah again. What was the niyyah? We have a problem with the tayammum. Like when you make wudu, there is no problem when you make intention for wudu. All of them, they said it's a must. It's a fard to make niyyah for wudu, except the Hanafis, they say it's sunnah to make tayammum. But when it comes to wudu, to make wudu, when you make wudu in all madhab, you need to make niyyah. But when it comes to tayammum, then all of them, like they say, because this is a replacement, then you have your intention has to be specific, the same way I'm saying to you right now. It has to be you are making the tayammum, the intention of the fard of tayammum. Intention of what? Fard of tayammum, to pray with it. To pray with it. And if you have to have a wash, if you have to have a shower, because whatever, then some of the scholars, they say you need also to include that this wudu is for to replace the wash also. So majority of the scholars, so you don't be confused, because they have a lot of talk about this. Is only when you make the niyyah intention for tayammum, you say this. I start making tayammum by your heart. You don't have to say by your tongue, but it's better to say by your tongue. I start making tayammum for praying with it, with all the fard of tayammum. If you say the fard of tayammum, your tayammum is okay with all of them. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.
الله أكبر.